Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Shouting into the Void, the weekly series where myself and Liam talk about Doctor Who.
Ooh,
Yay! Everyone's favorite sci-fi show.
yes. Unless you're a Doctor Who fan, then it's your
Like
least
that's
favorite thing in the world.
probably, to be fair. It's a sad, unfortunate truth. We are going through all of the modern Doctor Who from 2005. We have watched Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. We're now on Series 4. We're on episode 9 of Series 4. We have, what, 3, 4 episodes left of the series after this?
Oh, yeah.
Madness.
Heavens. We have like 8 episodes left from Tennant, I think.
Oh, Christ. It's really flown by.
Series 4 has flown by.
Series
I remember like Planet of the Ood. I remember going, into the camera so many times. And that was like 2 weeks
Oh
ago, though.
God, unfortunately, there's no into the camera this time. There's just more than anything
Yes.
else. Because we are looking at the second part of the penultimate two-parter of the series, Forest of the Dead, which obviously has followed Silence in the Library again. Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
these just stupid names. Oh, Moffat sure does like forests and moons.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is the two-part. This is the culmination of a spooky Stephen Moffat two-parter. Our team, I guess, the Doctor and some archaeologists, including River Song, are running away from some shadows. It sounds so basic when you put it like that. Donna has been sent somewhere. She was supposed to be safe in the TARDIS, but it didn't work, and she was taken elsewhere. Where? We'll find out. And yeah, it just they have to escape the villain, save Donna, save the 4,000 people that were trapped on this massive planet. And yeah, basically figure out what's gone wrong. Why are there shadows killing people? Naturally, they do all of that I say pretty successfully. Everyone but the Donna and Doctor dies. And the 4,000 people that were saved, but
And Lux is fine.
oh yeah,
Everyone's favorite character,
yeah,
Lux.
yeah, and the best character in the episode, Lux, is fine. The probably the most famous actor, the most famous guest star of the episode is fine. uh yeah, I think I'm not really sure how I feel, to be fair. I think I did enjoy it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as last week
Okay.
for myself. How did you find it?
I liked it just as much as the first one, to be honest. I thought I would definitely prefer the first part. And if I had to choose, I probably would go for that.
Mhm.
But I did really like this as well. I was kind of nervous about all the stuff with Donna. I was like,
Yes.
is this going to really drag? For me, it didn't.
Mm.
But maybe that's because I just assumed it was going to, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think obviously there's a lot. The first like moments we spend there, I think there's a lot kind of going through. They don't really cut back. But Catherine Tate's so good in those scenes. I don't really mind in the end. And I think they spend a decent chunk of time with everyone else as well, unless you're other Dave, of course, because he once again gets completely shunned, poor guy. But it's fine. He got his Marvel paycheck like 10 or so years later, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
Worth it in the end.
Yeah, but overall, I really liked the episode as well. Great conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not that I didn't like it. I think it's only literally marginally like less than the first one. So it's not like I was like, this is just completely fallen off a cliff. What's gone on here? But I just felt there was more intrigue. I mean, there's always going to be more intrigue with the first of the two-parter. I think for me, the setup was just a little bit better than the conclusion. The intrigue was better than the resolution, which I think is often the case with Moffat stories as well, is that there's always so much intrigue and that's always so good. And then the payoff doesn't necessarily pay off.
I would argue that's just Doctor Who.
Yeah, and arguably you are right, yeah, because that's happened with Jodie Whittaker, where it's like, oh my god, there's so much. It's like, I guess we finished. Looking at you, Flux. Oh, so much. We didn't need Claire, did we? Sorry, Claire.
Grand Serpent, best character, Grand Serpent.
Oh,
so pleased.
God. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? But yes, I enjoyed it. We'll get into what I did like and what I sort of had some issues with. Again, a lot of my issues are more nitpicky. It was a little bit easier to get negatives this week, but it was still a bit of some of them were a little bit nitpicky, but that's fine. We do 3 positives and 3 negatives. We always start with the positives and then we rip into the episodes. I will go first this week with my first positive, and it's Catherine Tate / Donna, however you want to look at it.
Oh yeah.
I think there was a lot of emotional lifting that she had to do for this episode, and to establish a relationship and a family that you already feel like she deserves in just like 3 scenes, like, you know, a minute. I think is a credit to the writing and the acting from both Catherine Tate and her fake husband. And then for all of that just to be ripped away as brutally as it is.
Ripped away.
I think Catherine Tate is heartbreaking when her kids just disappear and she's just left there. I was like, oh my God, this is a kids' TV show. What's going on? This is horrible. And to be fair,
hey kids watching this, you might not be real.
Yeah.
When your parents close your eyes, you disappear.
I mean, like, I think if you're a kid watching this, I don't think it quite hits you as much as if you were a parent watching it. Because I'm sure parents have had that kind of fear, you know, that they could lose their kids at any point, and you know, that kind of thing. They're always concerned when they're not watching. But yeah, Catherine Tate, she doesn't seem like she's Donna in this. This is like the person that she could have been if she was if she wasn't raised by Sylvia, I think is the way to put it.
If she had a good mother.
Yeah, there's a bit of sass there, but she's much more, I think, caring for. She much more wants the family, and whether that's Dr. Moon sort of manipulating that into the way it is, I don't know.
Getting her into it.
Yeah, but I mean,
ironic.
it was just, you know, Catherine Tate just again shows that she's more than just the comedian that a lot of people thought she was going to be when she joined the show. And you know, not just in this episode, but the next time we see her in the next episode, she's going to have a similar thing to do. And you know, it really comes into her own at the end of this series. And this episode is a really good start because she didn't get too much to do last week as well. You know, she got to ask the standard companion question: what's going on? Who's that? What's this? But then for her to have this almost completely independent story where she was literally left by herself, I think was really enjoyable. And as you mentioned, you know, there were concerns that it might not be the best bit of the episode, but I didn't mind cutting back to it. I quite liked seeing that, and for me, it made the episode go a lot quicker than how I thought it would be. But yeah, so what's your first positive?
Well, this is my second, but it's Catherine Tate, so I thought I might as well just talk about her now because I just agree with everything you said, basically. And yeah, seeing her kind of navigate an alternate universe and how different her life could be, I think it's a really cool setup for Turn Left, because we see her navigate that all over again in a different way, a bit even more of an independent way. So I kind of like that evolution. Yeah, the scene where her kids disappear, oh my God, awful. But yeah, she's so great in those scenes. And yeah, she's the mother Sylvia wishes she could be. Maybe Sylvia doesn't even wish she could be that because she's just awful. But still, that's fine. But yeah, everything with her, I was actually very pleasantly surprised by. You know, I can't imagine some other companions, let's not name names and be mean,
Rose,
could hold that kind of storyline and be as interesting for me. Because there are, you know, a few kind of light-hearted moments in that. I messaged you about the dieting line that killed me because I completely forgot about it. So that was absolutely hilarious. But then, yeah, it just switches entirely as well. And I think it really works because they also built the foundation of a relationship with her and Evangelista in the first part. So to kind of see them explore that and again in a different way, because she's smart now.
She's ugly, so she's smart.
She's ugly, so she's smart. She can't be both, apparently.
That's the message, kids.
Yeah.
If you're hot, you're dumb. If you're ugly, you're smart. There you go. You can't be both.
It's the only way. And if you're a child, you're not real. Or you're irrelevant if you're a child. Sorry about it. I mean, it's true. But yeah, I liked everything with her in the end. Also, you know, all the constant mentioning of, and then you forgot, and then you remembered just makes me sad, knowing where this all leads. But yeah, Catherine Tate is a powerhouse. I think she's so great in the role, and I like her at this point in the series, just kind of proving everyone wrong. Yeah, so she went through a lot in this one, and I like that she just gets a nice little break next week as well, just in the spa. Why not?
Yeah,
It's the time for the Doctor to experience all the trauma, and then it's her turn again the week after. But yeah, I loved everything with Donovan in this one, and Catherine Tate was fantastic. And I was kind of also worried about it going into this because I like the Doctor and Donna together, and we don't really get that in this one until the last 5 minutes or so. But I think, you know, the strength of her plot and her performance really did hold that together. And then we got a really lovely moment with them at the end when they reunited anyway. The, you know, I'm all right too scene is like, oh. So we've got some good stuff all around. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed her.
Yeah, I think she's definitely, you know, the highlight, I think, of this episode. And then, you know, especially even so that we both sort of had concerns for that side of thing going into this. I think it's safe to say that they probably won us over. I mean, we'll come on to the negatives. You never know.
Oh.
Yeah. So my sort of second positive, I think I'm going to play this as the Doctor and River song rather than just one or the other.
Okay.
Because I think it all comes down to sort of basically the final scenes of the two of them, where River sort of stands up to him finally. It's like, look, shut up. I'm taking control of this because I know what you go on to do, and if you die now, nothing's going to happen, and you need to keep going. It goes back to that bit where the 10th Doctor is just completely ready to kill himself at every possible moment. This is like the second time in 3 episodes or 3 stories at least. So come on, man, what are you doing? But yeah, I just think it sets up so much and it teases so much, and I think a lot of it does get a payoff moving forward in series 5 and 6, mainly. There's a few inconsistencies with what River says is, you know, happens to what we see, especially with like, you know, the last time she saw him, which was obviously Capaldi, you know, and there's a little bit of a, you know, but
I think that was more so because Husbands of River song was Russell's idea.
Right.
Moffat was done with River. He's like, her story's done. And then Russell was like, you're an idiot for not having Peter Capaldi and River meet.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay.
Oh,
so
I'll do it.
I'm
sorry, Russell. Sorry. But yeah, there's a couple of discrepancies there, but I can look over it. You know,
you can kind of see it as like her just mincing her words.
You know, it's the whole.
It's like an expression.
Yeah, you know, the unreliable narrator, where, you know, they can say it how they want to say it, you know, because you're only hearing it from River at this point.
I mean, she clearly romanticized the Doctor a lot, so she probably just did that again.
And yeah, I love what it teases, especially, you know, with obviously her knowing his name, and where that eventually goes, and you know what that leads to is, you know, with Trenzalore and Day of the Doctor and all that kind of stuff. I just think I think it really works, and it really shows the different levels they're at the minute, with the Doctor not really knowing her, but her effect, at least what she remembers, excluding Big Finish, you know, 3 regenerations she's met. And you know, it just I really like it. I think they're a good companion Doctor duo. I think I would have liked to see more of Ten and River on screen, because I'm pretty sure they've met in Big Finish.
I think they have, yeah.
But again, who knows if that's where that's set. I think a lot of David Tennant's Big Finish is set after this, during his standalone year, during the specials. So it doesn't really matter at that point. But I think they make a great Doctor companion. I think even with Matt Smith they do, Peter Capaldi obviously as well, and it's a shame that we never get to see them, just the two of them. It's always the two of them and whoever's currently traveling with the Doctor. Again, that could all change. You never know what Russell's got planned for the future and what the 60th might entail.
And there's the extra bonus things on the DVD box and stuff. Just 11 and River.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I quite liked it. I quite like their relationship and where it all leads. And obviously, River Song's sort of sacrifice is quite emotional, to be fair, I think, as well, especially with the Doctor trying so hard to stop it, because he can clearly see, even though he doesn't know who she is, he knows he doesn't want to see her die, which I think is quite a nice moment. But yeah, so what's your first / second?
Yes. The Doctor and River's goodbye scene.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, again, it's very well written. I think David Tennant and Alex Kingston are both fantastic in it as well. I think it improves even more so knowing where things go. Because when you first watch it, you're in the Doctor's shoes. Now we're watching it back, we're in River's shoes. I'm like, oh, we know everything as well. I'm like, oh no, you don't want to miss out on any of that. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing when revisiting it anyway. But even just in the first time watch, it's a very emotional kind of sequence that I really enjoy. And yeah, kind of teases a lot, sets up a lot. Very emotional considering we met her literally the week before this. But you kind of, I think they really sell. There's a history there, and you know they really sell the Doctor's kind of turn. And I like how early in the episode they kind of have a like, okay, bitch, please, like things are serious. You need to trust me. Here's your name. And what she actually whispered in his ear, I don't know how he didn't burst out laughing. So we'll get onto that. But you know, a testament to the acting from both of them there. So yeah, I really enjoyed their final little scene. And it just makes the whole thing kind of bittersweet when we see River again, because they kind of know where it's heading. And I like that kind of setup for a future dynamic. At the time, we didn't know whether or not they would even explore it, because for all we knew, you know, River knew the 30th Doctor and the 31st Doctor, and they just never have to show it. But
never done that before.
Never done that before. Canon means nothing. But yeah, I really liked that final goodbye as well, and a nice tying up of that relationship. The first time we see that relationship is a very Doctor Who thing to do. And you know, tying it back into the screwdriver and setting it up, and the data ghosts all tying together as well, and he saved her and stuff. Very, very good. But yeah, that's a really emotional kind of goodbye sequence that I really like.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, River Song's actually the companion of Tom Baker's curator in Day of the
Good God.
So it's like right at the end. She's got everywhere.
She's just off camera in that scene.
Yeah, she stood at the door. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just, I think, as you mentioned, because they've only been introduced, like there was no big finish, there was no books, there was nothing around her. She was just a new character for this story, and it could have gone anywhere. They didn't have to pick it up, but the fact that they added so much depth to it, I think, has definitely helped this week. My sort of third one, I think I'm going to go with the pacing of the episode. It absolutely flew by.
It did.
Me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were coming to the end until they were stood going, hey, there's a girl in the node. I was like, oh, we're almost at the end. Here we go. I think they got the balance between the Vashnarada and the sort of fake world pretty spot on. You know, they would have some action and then they'd run off and it would cut. You never felt like you were, oh wait, I want to see what's happening in that scene. You know, they never cut off mid conversation, mid reveal, whatever. It was a case of they've run and then you went to see Donna and then they've got back to their location, so it felt like it was real time, which I'm sure was probably the intention, to be fair. But
yes,
yeah, I thought it was paced very well. I never once sort of thought, oh, I don't care about this scene, let's keep going. And yeah, I think for the first time probably a while, I've thought I didn't pay attention to how long was left. You know, I thought we're almost there. Good, excellent. And yeah, I think that's credit to the writing, directing, and the editing for not leaving in any unnecessarily long takes or shots of things that didn't need to be in there, which is good. But yeah, only a small positive, but you know, one that helps the episode nonetheless. So what is your third one?
The music.
I was almost going to say that.
Yeah. It really
this is the first time. This is the first time I think you've ever said music in positives.
I've definitely said it before.
Oh, maybe not one of your like main ones, but
maybe not one of my main ones, but maybe once or twice. It's certainly a rare occurrence because I am someone who doesn't really notice music because that means the music's doing its job. I don't tend to actually go and listen to soundtracks to TV shows and stuff that often. And like, I'm someone who really first noticed the music when Amy and Rory fall off the roof in Angels Take Manhattan. I was like, oh, this music's really nice. So that's when it kind of strikes me. So it's not something I'm super aware of. But this one, I really liked it. It was almost uplifting, but almost kind of dark, like the final kind of score when River's reading the story to the kids and like sweet dreams, everyone. So I really liked that. When the Doctor works out what's going on, when Donna's fake world collapses and everything, really well scored with all of that. I think another highlight was when the Doctor tells Sebastian and Amanda to look him up, and the kind of music for that is really well done. So yeah, some great kind of standout moments. I think it complemented the writing and the acting and the editing really, really well. And yeah, I thought I'd give it a shout out because it was noticeable for me in this one, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not in like Rose.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, shut up, Murray. But yeah, it was very well scored, I felt, this two-parter. So well done.
Yeah, that's
Gold
fair
star, you might say.
Yeah, I mean, my additional positive is the music. I think my standout moment is when River and the Doctor are like talking to each other, and that's when she tells him his name. I think the music in that one's done very well. It's very like almost Gallifreyan type thing, I think. And yeah, it just all worked very well. I think it really set the tone, and I think it's because last week there wasn't as much music because it's supposed to be silence in the library. So I think
wait a minute.
This week I think they could now that they didn't have that sort
they should have called it loudness in the library.
Yeah, well, it was
Panic
a forest
at the library.
But yeah, I think again, I think series 4 is one of my favorite soundtracks for Doctor Who, because I am one of the people that will listen to a soundtrack of a TV show or a film or whatever. And I think series 4 is probably my favorite. Series 3 is up there as well, to be fair, but of Russell's era, I think this is definitely one of the highlights, and has obviously set the tone for, I think, a lot of what people remember about Doctor Who as well. Like, people will remember the music from here, especially even though you don't like it. Like the music from Rose, I think a lot of people would remember if they heard. Even if it can be a bit obnoxious at times, I think Murray's sort of toned that down a little bit as he's grown into the show, I think. Yeah, which is fair. Have you got any other sort of additional positives you want to mention?
Yeah, I really like the supporting characters again. There's something about them I like. I liked Anita. She was good in this one. She got more to do.
Yep.
That was a nervous chuckle. So I'm guessing I see one of your negatives. But again, yeah. Poor old other Dave just got completely left in the lurch. But that's fine. And yeah, David Tennant should have got an Emmy for the shot of him just looking where River died, because he just looked so sad. I thought he was great in that little moment as well. So yeah, a few extra little things that I liked about that.
Yeah, fair enough. We will now go into the negatives of the episode. I've got a couple of them are a little bit nitpicky. The first one is a bit nitpicky, but the gravity platform, like right at the end, I'm like, I guess you could just sonic that open and a platform appears, because they didn't aim for that room to get into the platform, did they? They were just there, and River went, I can do it, and did it. I mean, maybe there's a gravity platform in every room like that, but
that's what I'd assume.
It's just very convenient that they ended up right in this place where they could easily get down to the computer core. And in an episode that feels like it's written so precisely, and everything is in the place and everything hits there right, it just feels very much like how do I get them to the core without having them run down another corridor? I know.
Yeah, without this episode overrunning, how can I get them there?
Yeah. And I mean, it might have been better if they sort of at the start of the episode just went, right, we're going to go to the planet core to figure out what's going on, or figure out a way off planet, that kind of thing. But because they don't realize what's really happened until 10 minutes towards the end, it's kind of a case of they realize it's like, okay, planet core, we just zap this and we're down there, easy. And it just felt a bit very just kind of, they just went there and it just so happened that's where they needed to be, which I can sometimes accept. But when most of the writing in this episode has been sort of spot on and hard to pick apart, just for it to be convenient, I think is a bit lazy.
It stands out, yeah.
But it's a, like I said, a nitpick. I can deal with it, because it can be like a service hatch where they're in like 2 out of 5 rooms or 3 out of 5 rooms, so you're more likely to be in one than you're not. But never mind, it got them there, and I can deal with it. I can manage. It does beat another corridor running shot, but
yeah.
never mind. So what is your first negative? Probably a bit more substantial than my one, but
Well, maybe. I found some of the like explanations for what was going on a bit wordy and a bit confusing. Is that my main one? I'm sure it all made sense, but I'm too dumb to follow it really.
Yeah.
I just think maybe some of it was a bit over explained and stuff, like saving their physical forms, and we can
so they can
replicate
just
that.
be be reactivated or actioned or whatever it was whenever you or the library demands it. Like, so Donna could just go activate me, and then she is that like okay,
like some of stuff like that, and
Yeah.
the Bastion and Rada being in the books and like we're hatching and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to visualize that, but I can't.
Uh-huh.
I can't quite. I'm sorry. But I think the biggest one for me, and again, this is really nitpicky, but when Lux is like, oh, it's my grandfather's youngest daughter.
Yeah.
It's your aunt.
Yeah.
Just say your aunt.
I wrote that down. I wrote grandfather's youngest daughter. So your aunt. I was like, just say that.
Like, just say she's my aunt.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't change anything. You say the same. Like,
Yeah.
I know you want to look all big and clever for having this sequence stuff,
God,
but my goodness me.
Yeah.
That I don't know why that bothers me more than everything else, to be honest, because I can still kind of follow it a bit.
Yeah.
But that one, I'm just like,
yeah, because for that, I always thought that like maybe he was the descendant of her, like she was put in place like literally like 1,000 years ago or whatever, which is why she had the modern 21st century like world. But then it's like, oh, my grandfather's daughter. And I'm like, wait, so that's literally like the generation before you. So that's the 30 years ago? Because this library's supposed to be closed for 100 years, assuming she's been there longer than 100 years in the first place. Don't know when the library opened. But unless humans are living for a long time, the maths doesn't add up. But so maybe that's why they said it, so that they could.
Yeah,
it sounded
very
like
weird wording. Yeah, so that was a bit bizarre, especially when you could have just said like anything else. Literally, my second cousin once removed, wasn't like fine, and whatever. So yeah, there was just a few moments like that. I was like, I need to replay this and see if I can follow it and try and understand why on earth you said it like that. But again, I think some of that is just because I'm a bit thick and the episode's pacing is so quick. I'm like, okay, sure. Let's kill the next person. Sure.
I think that's the intention. It's so quick, you don't have time to think about what's been said.
We've got to do another fake out. Oh no, someone's dead. Poor other Dave.
Whoops.
Oh, and I forgot to mention another positive is the there are 5 people alive in this room. Why are there 6?
Yes,
I love that reveal because
like
the whole scene you just see him stood there. I'm like, oh, he's there.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I mean, there's a couple of moments like that where I think if I was to watch it back straight away, I would notice them. That 6th man, the one where it's like you don't have 2 shadows anymore. I might have looked out for that a bit better, but I forgot that was a thing until they said it. I was like, oh no.
Think the most obvious one is that we should go doctor because he did.
Yes,
it's the same information and everything. Again, I'm like, okay, he's dead.
I get it. I get the point. I get it.
Yes.
The sort of on that last one about Lux saying his grandfather's youngest daughter. Lux in general is just a waste of time and space. He doesn't need to be there. All he is he's just there going, yes, this is my grandfather's youngest daughter. She reads books.
He's there to explain the plot. She loves books.
And that's it. Like you could have had her say that as a node. Just say I was installed in blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be there. It just feels like they
as opposed to the point where it is her fantasy world, isn't it? She doesn't actually know everything that's going on.
At the same time,
she's just a little girl.
But the node, so the actual like computer node would know, because it's not the girl from the dream world talking via the node. It's the node as the computer, the information thing talking.
Yeah.
So, and then that's the other thing is, why is she can create any world? I know. I'll go for 21st century England.
I know. I'll go for a sheep set.
But yeah, I think it stinks like they had a guest actor, but they didn't have a role for him, and he didn't want to be killed off. So like, right, you can be this guy that lives. You don't even see him go. You don't see him like. I don't know what he's there for. Is it just to save the library? Is it to save Cal? Is it to save the people? Because they all leave and the library is left dormant. That's the deal, is that the library gets left alone and they leave. Did he take? He didn't even take it with it, because the Doctor goes back down and she's still there. So I don't know why he's there. If he's there to save the girl, he doesn't do anything unless he just like copies her onto a floppy disk and leaves. But we don't see anything. He's just there to say, that's my relative. That's why I'm here. Okay. Bye. And then
he gets a really nice goodbye scene with the Doctor, but they cut it. It's on the deleted scenes. Wow. And I think he's the one who like gives in River's diary back. I think that's how he gets it.
Well, that would have been
overrun.
But
yeah, so it was kind of a nice. I think he's kind of quite humbled in that scene, and he's a bit like, I done fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah, I killed 5 people. So
yeah, and I think he shows some change to his character there, but.
So that would have been better, but then it still leaves the question of he didn't need to be there in the first place. He didn't need the archaeology expedition didn't need to go in the first place, because what was he there to achieve?
I get him like wanting to protect his family and stuff, but after the first person dies, I'd have bloody told him what was going on.
But then it's like a case of he's there to make sure, like, protect his family and stuff. But what does he protect them from? But she's not real. The Bastionada aren't eating the nodes. And the only people they're eating are the people that he brought with. They're the only people that have gone to the library in 100 years.
Yeah.
Unless
the best way to protect your relative is to not fund an exposition to go to the library, I would say.
Probably. Especially because, like, literally the strain that it puts her through, the computer through, to like stop Donna and save Evangelista and all that stuff, almost does kill her. It's like, you have cocked this up royally, mate. But yeah, I think
family shit.
It's fine. It's fine. When the novelization comes out, he'll be a serial killer, and he was gonna look to kill everyone.
That's true. Yeah, he's a Sebastian Amada.
He is. But yeah, I just think he was just unnecessary. I think you don't need to have him there. Maybe just have the archaeology team break in because they heard they heard there was some treasure or something. I don't know, but never mind. So what is your second positive? Positive, negative?
Yes. Oh no, we're back again. There are a lot of close-ups in this one, and it kind of took me out of it. A lot of them, and it wasn't just like shots of the skeletons in the thing, like just all the characters were getting them, and it just
not enjoying the close-up of the CGI Miss Evangelista face.
I mean, we'll talk about that in a minute. Because I struggled for another negative, so I put that one. Easy target. But there's just, it became very, very noticeable to me. And especially when there's one that literally zooms in on the Doctor's face just a tiny bit, just goes, and he realizes what's going on. It's literally like maybe an inch closer to him, not even that. And I'm like, what was the point of that?
It's like they tried to do a smash zoom, but then they like chickened out as soon as they pushed the button. Went, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. It's fine.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it really took me out of it when I started noticing little things like that. And again, it takes a lot for me to notice things like that, so it must have been happening a lot. I'm like, you can show the whole frame, you know. I don't know if maybe half the set burnt down, they just needed to not show it or something, I'm not sure. But you know, Chibnall era does that a lot as well. There's a lot of close-ups in the Chibnall era, most noticeably that scientist on Taran with the coat. People didn't even realize that was actually in the episode because we only ever see it a close-up of its face. It's like a variant of a Sontaran in the final episode of Flux, in like a see-through jacket, and people didn't know about it until the promo picture came out because it was just a close-up.
Going over my head, so yeah.
And I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, there was just so much of that. I was like, zoom out, mate. So yeah, that kind of took me out of it a bit. But again, I only really had a problem with the super wordy explanations. I kind of had to nitpick the other two. That was one of them that I did notice. So
yeah, no, fair enough. My sort of other one is a little bit of a nitpick. I just don't like the cop out that the screwdrivers saved everyone.
Yeah,
I think I know Moffat has the reputation of he kills everyone. I don't think he does. I don't think he doesn't kill. He always kills them, but then he will bring them back in some form.
This is the everybody lives speech again. They literally say everybody lives, and everyone's like, "Oh, Moffat needs to stop killing characters."
Yeah, I know. And I've realized that a while ago, but it's just sort of every time I see him kill someone, I'm like, well, they're not dead though, are they?
Yeah,
Even
essentially, Russell T Davies and Moffat have a running joke about it that he doesn't kill anyone,
yeah.
and he's
Well, it's
like,
great.
"Yeah, I'm going to lean into it because I don't want people to be
I
too
mean,
depressed."
yeah, and it's fair enough, but I think for this one, it probably would have been better if she'd stayed dead. As harsh as that sounds, because fine. However, the screwdriver can hold the thing. I know it's got the weird whatever it is, the imprint thing.
Yeah, a data ghost thing.
Fine, and then I guess just the computer managed to save the other archaeologists, but better than she did with Evangelista the first time round. Because surely they're not all on River's screwdriver as well. But that's the implication, is that they were all saved on the screwdriver.
Yeah.
And yeah, the explanation is the doctor had however many years to think it through, so he could have found a way to do it all fine, whatever. But it does feel like, especially because it feels very tacked on at the end as well, where it's like they're leaving, very nice.
It's a
next
very
chapter's this
ending.
way, and then it's oh wait, hang on a minute, oh I got that, and I'm like, you could have just ended it there, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Especially because it then complicates when River comes back in name of the doctor, because she's like a weird. She's
like a
from the
leftover
library
conference call. Yeah,
and I just don't. I think it just muddles the water a little bit, and it feels like it's an afterthought of I need something very quick. I don't really want to leave her dead just in case I want to bring her back. But then it's like the whole point is that this is the end of her story, and you can explore the future. You don't need to keep her alive. And even looking at it from River's point of view, going from her story, it probably would have been better if she had died rather than lived on through the library. I think even the character herself would probably say she'd want that rather than just be stuck there for the rest of eternity. And it also probably could have done with a bit more exploration of the people she's left with, so her archaeology team. If we see them more in the future, not necessarily this week, but in future episodes, if she worked with them a bit more, if they're an established team. Obviously she goes to archaeology school and she becomes the professor and stuff, but if we saw them working with the team, maybe they were at the Byzantium crash when we next see her, or anything else. I think it would have been like, oh, that's why she chose to stay with them for all of eternity. But yeah, it just feels like it's a bit of a cop out, and just, I mean, I know there's a lot of depression to come in the next 4 episodes, but I don't think
you might have been told like, can we?
Because I mean, it's only David Tennant that comes back, so they might have added that in at like last minute and just gone, can you quickly go and do this? But who knows? And the CGI of him jumping down the tube isn't that great either.
That's absolutely hilarious. He eats himself in. Like, that's so needlessly dramatic to go.
Like, surely your hands would hit the other side of the thing as you went down.
Snap your arms,
And I was like, surely if you keep using the screwdriver, it's going to make her life force disappear quicker, but fine. And then like Cal's just staring at him like, and he's like, oh, nice, yeah.
Like a Teletubby.
But never mind. I can deal with it. I just think that personally, it probably would have been better if they didn't include it, but especially because she then just gets the same children that Donna had as well. And it's like, what? Stop it.
I do have a fun fact about that.
Oh, excellent. All right, then. We'll go on to that. So your final negative, what is it?
Miss Evangelista's face. And I mean the CGI version of her face. It's not scary, it's silly.
Yes. It's like a bad filter.
I suppose it's part of the course. Yeah, it's part of a course for an actress who married Elon Musk twice. So you know what?
Classic.
It makes sense. Like, ironic that she has intelligence in this episode, given that, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's just, I know it's a very easy target of criticism, but it's a big deal for her character in this one. It's a big kind of exploration of what the computer did to her and what it can possibly do to people. So I think I can count it, but yeah, it's just a bit like, oh god, I don't know how I felt about it at the time. I was probably fine with it, but particularly now, it's been years and years, I'm just like, that looks bad.
Yeah, I think it's because it's CGI, I think, is what hampers it more. If it was like a prosthetic disfigurement, especially because I think at the time, the way the veil is, it gives big trickster vibes. from Sarah Jane Adventures. So you think of how he looks under the veil compared to how this looks. That comparison is obviously massively different. I'm kind of like mixed on the face. Like I recognize it's bad CGI, but at the same time I get the point it's making.
I get what they're going for,
but
it's mixed up, but
especially when it's like and the girl's like, oh no,
that's what I think that's the reason. And again, it's just yet another close up followed by another close up of Donna going, and I'm just like, that's not scary. But yeah, I'd have just for them to copy and paste the idiot's lantern, no face effect onto her face, and be done with it.
Yeah, that might be better, to be fair, but never mind.
It's fine. Again, it's a very nitpicky thing, and it's literally like 3 seconds of an episode. It doesn't really affect it that badly. So
no, that's fine. What did you think of Cal deleting her dad and then crying about it?
Such a whiny brat.
Oh,
I'd have left her to die. And I know that's harsh because she's just a confused little girl trying to save 4,000 people at once and experiencing all these voices in her head. But oh my god,
Dr. Moon will save her. Delete.
Shut up, Dr. Moon! I hate you. Stop it! You're spoiling everything. Oh, shut up!
Yeah,
I'd have just blown up that planet. I'd just let it explode.
Yes.
I don't care. She's family. She's annoying. I don't know what it is about that particular little girl that just drives me mad. I'm like, you're so annoying. I don't think it's the actress, but I do think she's very good for child actress. There's just something about it. I'm like, you are so annoying.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because obviously this child's obviously got access to all these different worlds and books and stuff. It's probably an aspect of
we get it. You read
spoil and stuff, isn't it? You know, entitled to the world doing what she wants, and for something to come in and change it, she's not happy. But yeah, fair enough. One of my I completely forgot what one of my other notes was. Oh, one of my notes was that the computer moon is better than the egg moon. I think it's safe to say. I'd much rather the moon be a computer than the moon be an egg. So please, Moffat, don't oversee an episode where the moon is an egg. That would be great. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't oversee an episode that includes forest in the title. Don't do it. Not again. Don't want to see it again. This is it. One and done. Have you got any other points you want to hit on before we move on to the fun facts?
I'm not sure I do.
Nice.
I was very pleasantly surprised at the fact that I enjoyed this just as much as part one, really, for me. So, hooray! I'm glad. I had my reservations going into it, but I'm happily proved wrong. Yeah,
that's fair enough. In my notes, I've got a lot of big F for the fake kids, big F for River, big F for Other Dave, big F for Anita. It's every time someone died, big F. Sorry. And I've got and in my head, because not all my head is filled with memes now. So
same.
And for that cow one, I've got guess I'll delete my dad. And then like when River at the end, I'm like, guess I'm in heaven, when they're like all in white, and it's like, oh God's sake.
Yeah, I don't like that really.
No, but never mind. It's fine. Oh, sorry. One last thing. It's when the doctor's like, oh, I really liked Anita. I was like, you barely knew her. You had like one conversation with her.
Anita? I barely knew her.
Exactly. Oh.
You see, I quite like Anita. I kind of get it.
Like, I think there is a character there that would be likable, but I don't think we get enough screen time with her, I think is the issue. No. And I mean, maybe sure, the doctor had more time. He had spent more time with her. He probably had more conversation with her, but from what the audience sees, we see we see her being mean to Miss Evangelista. And that's about it. Yeah. And she gets told to put her helmet on.
Yeah, he disrespects her bravery in the face of death, I think. Yes. And the fact that she asks him about himself, but when she doesn't really get the answers, she's fine with it. She's like, yeah, fair enough. I think he probably respected that more so than anything else. Yeah, but
it felt very much like why was Anita so special? What was wrong with other Dave, a proper Dave? Specifically Anita was what pushed her.
They had even less character.
Also, what I really like about the scene where he's like cornered, not cornered, where he's like faced with both of them, and he decides to go through the floor. They're so slow. He could have just run around them.
I thought that as well.
I saw them. I was like, make the corridor. It's one whole side of it is CGI. Just push it in. Just you got the water, then
The
push it in.
Doctor's very dramatic. He had to
Yeah,
make the
literally the whole point.
And so bloody funny though. If they just cut and he
Ah!
grabs the end time, he's literally just forced to his death.
That's what Clara's doing when she's in that bit. She's just
stops
caught him
him.
and oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's actually holding his feet
Yeah.
as he's like moving along.
Yeah.
Just off shot.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, anyway, your fun facts. Let's get into them.
Alrighty then. Let's have a look. That's the first one. The working title of this episode was Rivers Run. The change happened so close to broadcast that the Radio Times and the Series 4 DVD announcement used the wrong title for the episode.
DVD announcement? What?
And then like announced like,
oh right, sorry.
Pre-order it now, and
yeah,
these are the things that blah blah blah.
Yeah, because they released like DVDs with like 2 or 3 episodes on, didn't they, at that point, rather than a whole series at a time.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because they need to make that extra bank, I guess.
Clearly.
And then everyone stopped buying them because they realized it was a scam, and then they stopped making them. So
see what I did there? It's a scam.
It's a scam. Other potential titles thrown around were The Doctor Runs, Forest of the Night. So he kind of reused that a bit later. Well, who writes that episode? Oh, Frank Cottrell voice. It's fine. He makes amends for it with Smile. And A Return of the Dead.
Oh, that's nice.
Which I wouldn't have minded because the saved dead people should do return. So it wouldn't make sense. But I like Forest of the Dead. It's fine. Cow just so happens to be the name of the CGI company that created the title sequence for the 7th Doctor era and the first photorealistic CGI TARDIS. It's whether that was a reference or not, I don't know.
Was it really photorealistic? I need to find proof of that. If it was photorealistic.
For the 80s, I think it's photorealistic. It's photorealistic as you can get for 1987. This is the last episode of the current era to have not been either written or co-written by Ross T. Davies, and the last episode not to be written by the show's head writer until Victory of the Daleks in 2010. Ooh. Original scores made for as yet unaired episodes were reused in this episode, from Midnight when Donna sees all the fake children, and from Turn Left when River discusses the Doctor's future with her. So there you go. That's why the music maybe stands out, because you're going to hear them again, folks.
Yeah, maybe.
Donna's children were named after Moffat's son, and his son Joshua and his best friend Ella. Moffat then brought Joshua and Ella to the set to watch part of the episode being filmed, which is a very
I assume we mean his son's best friend.
Yes.
Okay, because the way you phrased that, I thought it was you were about Moffat's
Joshua's best friend.
I was like, what? Yeah, okay. I thought that would be the case, but I figured I should clarify.
Common sense,
just
people.
in case.
Yes. It would have been valid either way, but still. The questions about the Doctor's real name began in the very first story, An Unearthly Child, and were repeated again in Silver Nemesis, Girl in the Fireplace, The Shakespeare Code, and Fires of Pompeii up to this point.
Never come up again.
Never come up again. Definitely not.
At all.
But yeah, people moan about it, and it was literally in the first ever story, so shut up. Moffat has since stated his regret at having the other 2 children alongside Charlotte with River in the final scene. So you're like, why does he have these 2 random children with her? Moffat, he didn't like that ever in the end. So there you go.
Just don't have kids. Just leave
vindication.
it. You can leave it as them reuniting. You don't need to have the kids tucking them in scene.
Yeah,
you don't need that. I mean, you don't need the whole thing, but just leave it there with them hugging.
Yeah, you know a Doctor Who doesn't have enough of child death.
It doesn't, to be fair. I don't think a child has actually died. Kill them all. Next episode.
Kill the children. But yes, Donna's wedding dress is the same one she wore in The Runaway Bride. So save some budget.
Nice. She kept it from that episode and just took it home with her, and then like, oh, hang on, I know what I can use. Just came back in.
Yeah. So they probably filmed Sansa in the library and thought, oh, that was a lot of heavy wind and rain. I hope that doesn't affect our second part either. It did. Heavy rain in Cardiff this time forced the postponement of filming the scenes in the park by a couple of days. Oh, filming Doctor Who's hard. This is why they do everything in studios with CG now. Can't trust the weather.
Understandable.
Alex Kingston actually whispered Shaniqua in De Hortensia when saying his name.
That's his name? Who would have guessed?
The Doctor's name is canonically Shaniqua, according to Alex Kingston.
Could you imagine?
So I would also have a lot of fun with that if I had to whisper something. But just,
Jim.
And he's just there like, my world has been completely changed.
To be fair, I think a lot of fans' reaction would be that as well. So let's be honest, if that was revealed.
Yeah, hilarious. And then finally, A twist at the end of the episode was cut for being too confusing. Ironic. That revealed Donna's artificial reality husband, Lee, was in real life an overweight woman.
Oh my god, that would have been great. But how would you explain that without
That's
a
why they cut
conversation
it.
be there?
Yeah. So that would have been absolutely hilarious. I mean, I quite like the tragedy of him not being able to say her name and stuff, but that also would have been quite the reveal.
Yeah. But when I was watching the scene, I was like, why doesn't he just get off the teleport platform?
Why don't you just throw a booker? Everywhere.
He's like, Donna, I'm like, instead of talking, get off the platform and run. It's not like you're being held in place. You can just leave. But I guess he just didn't want to see Donna as much as he thought he did. So
he was just so floored with surprise and seeing her.
Maybe he had an actual family to go home to. Well, actually, no. To be fair, it's like the Snap, but they've been gone for 100 years. His family will be dead if he had anyone to go back to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. 3 kids all dead. Well, there's a child death he wanted.
Now he'll have a grand. Now he'll have his youngest daughter. Will now have a nephew that is trying to launch an expedition to try and find him.
Yes, that's true.
God's sake. Never mind. So the only thing left to do is give this a rating out of 10. What are you giving it?
8.5 again for me.
Nice. I thought that might be the case when you said you liked it about that much. Mine is an 8.
I thought that might be the case when you said it was quite close.
Yeah. It's only marginally less. I think I got a little bit annoyed about a couple more things in this one. Lux, I didn't realize I had such a vendetta against until I started talking about him. But I think this is probably one of the highest rated 2-parters we've probably done, I should think. Especially in a while.
Yeah, because the Sontara one didn't fare too well with us.
No, and even the series 3 finale, like the main 2-parter in that one, I don't think we rated necessarily as highly.
No, Last of Time Lords was a bit of a letdown.
But who knows where we're going to go for the next 2-parter?
How will the Stolen Earth and Journey's end?
But
with popular characters Captain Jack and Mickey coming back, I'm sure it's going to ace perfectly well. The scene where they hug and call each other beefcake and shit. Can't wait for that.
Oh God. Anyway,
before who do I find? Mickey Mouse.
Hey,
who do I find? Marge.
A beefcake.
Sure. Simpson famous beefcake.
But before we get to that finale, which is rapidly approaching, we have to go through a very traumatic experience in Midnight. I can remember enough about the plot, but it's going to be very interesting going back to watch this and seeing if it still holds its captivation. See if I'm still as engrossed in it. I think I will be.
I'm scared my annoyance of them is just going to completely hate it, because I hate everyone in that episode apart from Merlin.
I mean, and I think that is the whole point.
It is the point.
That's always the whole point. But
is that just going to be tiresome when there's not even really more than one person that night? Yeah, you're all right.
Yes. It will be interesting to go and have a look at. I remember really liking it when it aired. I've liked it since. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's well regarded for sure.
It's one of those episodes where I don't think it's not going to be the one that you pick up and go, yeah, I just want a quick Doctor Who episode. I'm putting on Midnight. That's not, this isn't going to be the case. This is one of those where you watch it on Halloween or you watch it during a rewatch or something like that. But I'm intrigued to see where it goes and if I enjoy it just as much. How are you feeling about it other than the annoying traveling companions?
Yes. Oh, I want to strangle them all. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it again. It's been ages. So yeah, it should be a fun one to revisit. Obviously, it's kind of the cheap episode of the series because it's just one location. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see if it holds my attention. I mean, once it gets going, I think it really is kind of nonstop and horrendous for everyone involved. But it's about how long. Yes. And how long the setup takes to get going, I guess, is also going to make or break some of that pacing wise. But yeah, you're not, by design, you're not supposed to really like any of the supporting characters, which is fair enough. And yeah, I hope I enjoy it as much as I do remember liking it. And yeah, I mean, we're going to get a Rose Tyler cameo, so clearly it's the first episode of the
Yay!
series.
And a Lost Moon of Poosh reference.
And yeah, you've got to set that up.
Woohoo!
So yeah, hooray!
Yay!
Will they mention bees? Stay tuned next
Oh
week
yeah,
and find out.
that's the last one.
Don't forget that one.
That gets
a
mentioned
cool
in
story
turn
to it.
left. It's fine.
Yeah, great. So pleased. But yeah, I am looking forward to it because I know it's very well regarded as an episode. I certainly regarded it well myself when I've last watched it. So hopefully that will stay the same.
Yep.
And honestly, if anything, this episode probably has aged very well because the past few years has taught me anything. It's that human beings are awful and selfish. So
yes,
I think it's very accurate to what would happen.
Yep, I think that's fair. So tune in next week to watch us give it 3s.
Even lower than Love and Monsters.
Yeah. Oh, what a fall from grace that would be. I don't think that would be the case. But it leaves some intrigue for next week. Come back to see what we do rate it.
What I'm going to do next week is, next week I'm just going to copy everything you say. And that's all it's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that.
It's going to be like 2 hours long trying to get through it all.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, never mind. Anyway, that
Not
will...
so bene. Alonzi.
Oh, maybe it will be 3. Oh God! All right, it will be interesting to see how it goes. I've just forgotten that. Oh. Well, we'll see. That's the whole point of watching this. Everyone will remember the spooky monster and stuff, but
just shove her out the door, hostess. You don't have to go with her.
We're gonna look at this and be like, "This is stupid. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this?" That's just gonna knock it down. Oh yeah. Oh, anyway, we will be back next week with Midnight. And as usual, if any big Doctor Who news breaks between now and next week, I'm sure we'll cover it as well. Rumors fly around the next Doctor announcement. We're getting close to Easter. There could be a trailer at any point. Who knows? But if there is, we'll be back for that. If not, we will see you same time next week. Goodbye.
Bye.